morning. Good morning. Good morning. I know now, since my last stream, that hope you can hear me okay. I probably should wait to talk until after this is adjusted. I know from last stream, there we are. I know from last stream that this goes up on YouTube afterwards, so I can talk to all the people who are watching in post. So, hello, people from watching in post. I will be doing flower pressing today. You can see we got flowers over here. I have my press right here, and we're just gonna get straight to unloading. That's where, like, I don't even know what that knocked you towards. I think you saw my yoga mat or something. It's not as pretty. Eventually, I'd love to get like a mural here or something. I don't know if I'll actually do it because I'm notorious for talking about stuff and not doing it for a really long time or at all. So I'd like to, but we'll see. Happy Valentine's Day, by the way, if anybody re-watches this today. I know the people watching live, which is nobody at the time I'm speaking now, will have the opportunity to ask questions on chat, which you can't do really as well in post. So if you want to talk to me, you can go over to my Facebook or Instagram and direct message me if you've got questions about what's going on and what I'm doing. It's Stotally Co, STOATALLYCO. That's my handle on Instagram and Facebook, because my original name, Stotally, is not available over there. It's been taken by somebody else. Though I do have Stotally over here on YouTube, and I also have Stotally.com. So everybody knows here that I have a website where I have my flower preservation information all up. Hello, by the way, I see that you've popped in. I have no idea who you are, but I'd love to see you over here in the chat if you've got questions or you want to say hello. Over my website, where you can go and check out my flower preservation. And you can go in, you can see the form and stuff, what I do, who I service to and stuff like that. And yeah, that'll be something you guys can like check out and whatnot. So go over there, check that out. It'll be good stuff. Yep. So go over to my website, check it out. If you've got a wedding coming up, especially in 2026, I got you. And I'm new to this whole industry, and I believe that I do beautiful work. So you can benefit from the fact that I'm new. Things are a little bit cheaper than super well-established florists because they have the ability to charge a lot because they have a great reputation. So if you want to save a little bit but still want a beautiful piece of art, I'm your girl, at least this year. I can't promise in future years if it'll be that way. So go check out my website. So what we have in here, I had a bride who did not preserve their wedding flowers, and they wanted to see if their bouquet that they'd hung upside down or something like that, it was like a dried bouquet, could be preserved. So I have some of her flowers in here that were dry already. So they did not preserve their color as well. Because they're very brown, you can see. So I just basically just flattened her already dry flowers, because otherwise they'd be fluffy, right? So we did that. That's a thing. And you can see my paper is stained from previous flowers, so I have not noticed this causing any issues with preserving flowers today. So doesn't seem to cause any problems. And then for those of you who are curious about how I stack my paper, this is blotting paper. You can find it on Amazon. I have, if you go through and look at my YouTube shorts, I do not have very many of them regarding flowers. I have a playlist. If you go to my channel, I have a flower preservation playlist or something like that. And on there, one of them, I have a little icon that appears that is of the blotting paper that I use. If any of you are curious about it, DM me and I will send you the link for the blotting paper that I use. It's important that you don't get paper that has been treated with acid because that can cause your flowers to discolor. So we don't want that. We want like the natural color of flowers and whatnot to stay and be preserved and not get all weird. So I found that this blotting paper works really well. It's like $10. You get 20 sheets. So you need one for either side of your flowers. So let you do like 10 cases of them. Hello, by the way. Say hi in the chat if you feel comfortable and got time. So yeah, good blotting paper is important. And we have a lot of baby's breaths. This bride had baby's breath in her bouquet, and also, dang, what was I thinking? Baby's breath and regular like white roses and a bit of greenery. She had like some like little like plumes of like feathery stuff as well. So her bouquet should be quite nice once it's done. I was not able to save her roses. They were just too dry. So I went and paid Valentine's Day prices for white roses. So these are it. We'll see if we've got room in the press for them today. Yeah, this one's definitely soft enough. They probably could be pressed. So aren't they gorgeous? They smell amazing. I love flowers. Yeah, so I think I might also be like, does anybody else's, like, if you work with flowers a lot, do your fingertips begin to tingle? Mine will sometimes. But I hate wearing gloves, so. And that's like when I'm like pulling things apart and really getting my nails into flowers, not just like brief touching or whatever. So yeah. Also, I think if for anybody on here who gets like their flowers pressed by me, I think on my website, I'll have to update this. It says 8.5 by 10 is like the frame size or whatever. And like, that's not very accurate. Pretty sure I do 12 by 14. It's bigger. It's nicer. So if people are, curious about sizes, I'm pretty sure it's bigger than originally listed on the website. So I need to update that. So, if anybody's watching this and is doing research on me or whatnot, now I think they're bigger than what's listed on the website. But if it says like something 12 by 14, I think it's probably accurate. I will update it. I will update it soon. So depending on when you watch this, if you see this like a week later, it may not be updated. If you see it like months later, it's definitely updated. So now see, this is interesting. So the top bit got in the press really good. It's nice and flat. But this bottom part was not as centered in the press as nicely. So you can see it's got like gaps here. It's not just flat. So this one will have to be broken off at the top where it's flatter. Otherwise, it's not going to work good for us. I see people clicking through. I wish someone would stick around and say hello to me. We could do some chatting. Chatting's a good thing. Here we go. And then she had like these, which were fake. So I just threw them in the press to get them nice and flat. And they flattened kind of. So we'll see if I'll be able to incorporate these. Worst comes to worst, I'll just pull off the white part and incorporate it into her bouquet. Or I may even just contact her and say, hey, do you even want these in your bouquet? Or do you just want the natural stuff in your bouquet? So there's also these that are synthetic. And then these are her so it's really thin now, but they're like almost like feathery, grassy stuff. So hers will have a very boho feel by the time we're done. And then it's amazing, when you press flowers that are fresh like these, that are still alive and moist, they're paper thin when they're done. Like it's actually crazy. Because they're already dry, like they pressed some, but not like super, super well. And these were very chunky boys. So you can see that that's not paper thin, but these will also be cute. Got a bunch of these little like feathery cattail type vibe. And I don't know if you guys can hear my cats. I apologize. They're not coming in today. Last stream we saw them. So if you want to see them, pop over to my YouTube channel and check out my previous stream. I have no clue where to find it. You probably would just have to look around until you see it. I don't have it on a playlist, I don't think. So if it is on a playlist, I didn't put it on there. YouTube did that automatically for me. So yeah. I don't know if I will do recreation, or I think I might in the future do strictly recreations instead of trying to press an already dried bouquet, just because the results aren't going to be as beautiful as if I just recreated it. And I want my brides to have the best 10 out of 10 experience, and that would probably require repurchasing a bouquet, which unfortunately can be quite expensive. So I am guessing I won't get as many of those kinds of brides, but I do offer it if you have some money to throw around. These are so pretty. I do not have a frame for her yet, nor do I have her roses ready. So that's also a part that is necessary in order to do it. So this is also interesting. Like, look at this. This page had flowers on it that molded a little bit, which happens sometimes in the process. And I'm getting better at flower pressing, so this doesn't happen at all. But usually in the flower pressing process, a couple blooms don't make it or press poorly. And that, if you would, fatality rate goes down as I continue to press and get better at it. But it does happen sometimes. So like I have all of these blooms here, which we'll look at more closely. But here you see we have, maybe you don't see actually, I'll bring it forward. We have daisies, or I think this is a carnation. These like little daisy type flowers. These ones I have yet to get to press for me nicely. But roses obviously press really well. And this one's like really, I don't know if you can see too well. It's beginning to fall apart. It's like saggy and whatnot. This is perfect. This is the point where it's going to lay real nice and flat for us. And today we're getting some more experience. You can see this. Lily is beginning to wilt and stuff. So that's good. It's ready. You see this rose is also getting a little dry and wilty. So they are ready to be taken apart and put into the press. And so I'm quite excited about this. Yeah. I'm hoping to create a beautiful example of what your wedding flowers could look like, because I feel like most brides get white bouquets. Obviously not all of them, so I will start making also some demos in the future of brides bouquets that have maybe, I don't think we could press sunflowers, because sunflowers are like this, unless you get smaller sunflowers, but typical sunflowers are like this, and also like thick like that. I cannot press a flower thick like that, because it'll just mold and it won't flatten properly. There's no way you're getting that in a frame. Here's more of that fake stuff. Oh, hush, you're fine. There's more of the fake stuff, and you can see it did not press super great. It like was only able to press so much. It's still quite fluffy. There's no like perfectly flat angle. I don't know if we'll include this or not. I'm gonna have to contact my bride and see if this is important to her. So if it is, we will make it work. If not, these might get ditched. Alrighty, here's the last layer. We have our more of these little cattails. Half a mind to go scare the cats and say, "Get out! Stop scratching at the door." Eventually, they have to give up, but right now they are convinced they are in the most distress a kitty could possibly be in. So. Más flores. Does anybody watching know how to speak Spanish or speak a little bit of Spanish? I don't know if any of you do Duolingo. I think I'm a level, I'm 17, a level 17. So I speak a little bit, a very simple Spanish. It's not very good, but I can, ask where the bathroom is, I think I'd be able to order at a very basic restaurant. I can have simple conversations about routines, in regards to like bedtimes, showering, food, like when you eat, meal times, family members. I know some activities, like I know the words for like movie theater and like a acting theater, which we say theater, like we say movie theater, and then if we say regular theater, it can mean like movie theater, or it can also mean like theater as in like the theater, where you go and see live action type stuff. But teatro versus the cine, which we'd also say cinema. So yeah, whatever. You get the idea. So that's all that really matters then. So for those of you who are interested about my flower press, this is it. It is literally just a piece of plywood with 4 of these bolts in it. And then there's another piece of wood that goes on top. And then it has holes too that slides down. I'm not going to slide down right now because it's a little bit of a pain. With washers and then wing nuts that goes on and pushes and presses it down so that the flowers get properly squished. So that's what that is. Often after pulling flowers out of the press, I'd have to wait for this paper to dry. But because these flowers were like kind of dry to begin with, like I did moisten them a little bit, this paper is fine to start pressing with. So we're just going to get cracking. These ones definitely need it worse than these roses do. So if I would need to wait for more paper to show up, I could put these in the fridge and they would be okay. Oh, hello. Who do we have here? Happy Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day to you too. It's a good day to press flowers. It feels very appropriate. We've got this. We are just getting started. We unloaded the dried flowers. So to update you, this is the part you missed out on. I unloaded a bride's bouquet who had a dried one, like they hung it upside down or whatever, and unloaded it. So this is her dried flowers that have been moistened slightly and pressed and dried again. So that's kind of what we were doing earlier in the video, and now we're going to get to decimating this. I'm going to have to go grab me some scissors because I did not plan well enough ahead. Neat. Doing anything special for Valentine's Day? Let me think. While I go grab scissors, am I doing anything special for Valentine's Day? Well, I'd say me and my husband decided to get macarons of our wedding cake flowers. So that was kind of like our special thing, was we got strawberry and chocolate macarons because that was the flavor of our wedding cake. So that's kind of like our special Valentine's Day thing. So nothing super crazy, no extravagant anything. It's for people with money to do. I don't have loads of money to just, go on super fancy dates and stuff. I am having an impossible time. Here it is. Haha. I found the scissors. How about you? You doing anything special for Valentine's Day? Same could go for the post chat. If anybody's rewatching this, I want to hear from you too. Drop it in the comments. Did you hear the cats? Got to figure out how I want to do this. If I had my trays and they weren't used for the flower pressing, I would for the seedlings, I would be using that for this, but I don't. So, let's see. I'm gonna move these dried flowers off of here. Set them over there. There we go. Now I got a clean sheet tray. We're gonna start disassembling this bouquet. Staying in, making steak for dinner. Ooh, yum. I've got some steak in my freezer. I think we're visiting some people tonight, so we won't even be home. Daisies. And I might start trimming these right away so they actually fit on my tray. So currently we are sorting the blooms. So I'm going to pull out and see what I have all available to me, because we also have these roses here that really should be getting in the press today too. I have a lot of greenery here. Believe it or not, this is enough to make probably 2 arrangements. And obviously we're going to have some casualties, but if assuming all of these turned out, we totally have enough to make 2 giant arrangements. But the second arrangement would definitely have a lot smaller flowers. So really we're going to make one big arrangement from this. But I don't have to take everything that's here, because if you think about the surface area these take up, you could fill an entire frame full of daisies. We just don't need that many. So let's see. Okay, yeah, that's the same comment from before. So I'm curious, did you just see me pop up on YouTube, or like did you see my Facebook posts? Or I'm curious if my Facebook posts I'm making about my upcoming streams are actually bringing anybody in. Facebook and Instagram, I suppose. Look at this. The eucalyptus is like crazy. Nubbins. It's like a little tree or something. It smells amazing. It smells kind of piney. If anybody wonders what eucalyptus smells like, if any of you know what pine smells like, maybe you have pine trees in your area. It smells kind of like pine. A little fresher than pine. Pine has like a very heavy scent. Eucalyptus is a little lighter. YouTube. All right, good to know. That means I'm popping up in your algorithm, so that's a good sign. If you ever want tips for social media, Facebook and Instagram, I don't want to say it's evil, but it's virtually evil. They are so not good to their creators. It's kind of insane. YouTube, like if you were to say like we're to post a video, YouTube would get like, we'll just throw out a number, we'll say 25,000 views. Post the exact same one on Facebook and Instagram and get like 5. YouTube does really well for its creators. It's super nice. Where Facebook and Instagram, I kind of just use as like leverage for trying to grow YouTube. Thank God. Carnations. I believe this is a carnation. If I make a mistake, someone can correct me. I'm still working on knowing all the names for my flowers, so it's a process. It's a process. I love flowers. They smell so good. I think my cat has finally given up. He's probably been pawing at the door for the last 20 minutes, which is impressive to keep at something for that long. And then this is kind of interesting. So my lilies might have to get like a Q-tip or something. They have like, get you right on the camera, they have like pollen on them. You see that? That is going to look real bad when they're finished pressing. So I'm going to have to clean that off. Oh, this smells like spring. Y'all need to go get a fresh bouquet of flowers. Oh, this petal broke. That's okay. That is definitely okay. We will figure it out. It's almost sad because this arrangement could have had a little bit more vase life, but I realized after I said I was going to live stream that I was like, oh, I could have kept this around a little longer, but not anymore. And like, I can't even keep my flowers out in the like kitchen or anything because cats. I do not feel like having dead cats. So, and lilies, I'm pretty sure, are very toxic to cats. So if you didn't know, now you know. If you have cats, be careful with what kind of flowers you have around. Look at that stem. That is a chonky stem. I don't know if these are snapdragons or what these are. The greenery is a little sad. Does anybody know what these are? Should comment and tell me if you know. Probably can preserve a couple of these leaves. That's something I sometimes forget, that I need to save some of the greenery too. So this leaf's pretty good. I'll keep this one. Most of these are pretty wrinkly. I think it's kind of fun because I see on video like all of the stems are appearing so nicely for you guys. It's pretty ugly for me. The top down is very full of stems like this. But for you guys, you get like pretty flowers. If only you could smell them. Smell amazing. Which is Valentine's Day, so like, you know, maybe you've got flowers on your counter. Go sniff them. The rose leaves are actually amazing for the press. So I'm just disassembling. If anybody's like kind of wondering what I'm doing, it looks like I'm just destroying everything. I'm just kind of disassembling, pulling out the leaves that look good, discarding the ones that don't. That's a rose. Got 2 dozen red orange roses. Wow, beautiful. I told my husband that I love flowers, so this is not me saying don't bring me flowers because I want flowers, but don't buy them right now. They're so expensive. So I'm like, why don't you like buy me flowers like a week after Valentine's Day when everything's gone back to normal prices? I mentioned this earlier in the stream, but these roses I had to buy for one of my brides, and I paid Valentine's Day prices for them, and I would have just waited until after Valentine's Day because I'm not in a hurry for these roses. And the issue is that they're like, we don't always just have white roses around. Also, isn't it interesting? These ones are so much more open and these ones are so much more closed. Like, I don't know if these ones were like spun really good to get them to open like that or what, but these roses are not as open, which I think is interesting. I think the final result will be very similar because like this petal is about yay big. I'd say maybe 2 inches across. These petals are also about the same. So I think they'll end up actually very similar. My husband got mine early, so I got to appreciate them a whole week before. Nice. I bet prices were better then too. I was at the store, this discount store near me, and they had red roses and stuff, and I was like, I'm trying to make some examples for brides to see before they book with me when I do stuff locally for people. And I was like, oh, there's red roses here. I can make a red arrangement because I'm going to have, like I mentioned earlier, I'm not going to be able to put all of this greenery and foliage into one bouquet. So I should be able to like cross it since I'm just making them for examples. I can just cross them, right? It doesn't really matter where the flowers come from. But then I was like, wait, I only have so much room in my flower press. So I'm going to have to order a bouquet with like red flowers in it and stuff later because I was not willing to pay for super expensive blooms again. Also, I wonder if I'm able to adjust the settings here on YouTube because I have you guys from my camera on my laptop or whatever, right? So I apologize, the video isn't the greatest, though I hope the audio is awesome because I've got my new DJI mics for you. But the video is not the greatest, and I forgot where I was going with that. I was just apologizing, I guess. Where was I going with that? I don't know. Here's a flower. I believe this is a China mum. Somebody else should let me know if they know a different name for these. Because I'm sure to somebody it's cultural appropriation or whatever. So. Oh, crispy audio versus. Nope, still don't remember. Anyway, so I have pressed these. These ones do press okay, though, like when they're fresh like this, they have very little smell. They have a little bit, but not a lot. They smell kind of like a dandelion. When you press these, they kind of have more of like a spidery, like vibe, if that makes sense. Where here they have a very spiky vibe. And because of the flower pressing process, I have to take this middle bit out. Otherwise, it'll just mold. And we don't really have a flower at all. So I kind of have to take this middle part out. So we just kind of just get these like outer spikes, if you will. You can imagine that. And so then you get kind of this like vibe. Because then they also curve a little bit. And you've got a whole bunch because there's so many on these China mums that just curve. It's kind of intense. So we got 2 of these. These were in my wedding bouquet. I think it's beautiful, the different kinds of colors of bloom you can get on flowers. So these ones are pure white, as you can see, but you can also get ones that mine had like pink tips, and I don't think they were painted either. So some flowers, which I don't like the look of as much once they're done and dusted in a frame, because everything else like preserves and gets this vintage look, where your painted flowers remain very bright. So I had a bouquet from being a bridesmaid that was orange, which I could grab for you guys. And you can see an example of the work I do. I actually had one with me. So let me go grab that really quick. But the rose was sprayed orange. And when you preserve that, of course, paint doesn't really change color even when it's dry, because, you know, it is the color it is once it dries. It's kind of like you get the idea. But red flowers kind of turn darkish in color. And what am I saying? White flowers turn a little bit yellowish in color. And yellow flowers actually maintain their color very well. So if you want a bouquet that looks the most like your wedding day bouquet, get yellow flowers. But this one, from being a bridesmaid, you can see that orange flower is incredibly orange. And it's gorgeous, don't get me wrong. I just don't prefer this look as well as like the natural one. So you see those red roses on the outside? Those are natural. They're not painted at all. And that orange one in the middle is painted. So that's something to consider if you're wedding planning, to talk to your florist about, if you really don't want that specifically. But if you really like that, like, wow, that's so bright and colorful, if that would fit your decor better, I don't know if that's something you could even request. Hey, would you spray paint my roses? So this is like a little frame, by the way. If you guys are ordering flowers, this is a small one. So in the forms, if you want a little one like this, like if you were a bridesmaid, you can request that and say, hey, could I get, how big is this? I'm going to guess this is actually the 8x10. So you could request this size if you want a smaller one for like a bridesmaid bouquet, which is what this was for me. I was a bridesmaid, and so I turned my bridesmaid bouquet into a pressed floral arrangement. And you can get this size. Otherwise, my standard bride size, I do think it's 12x14. I don't remember, but it's about this big. If that gives you an idea of how much bigger it is, it's probably something like that. It's quite a bit bigger. So this is the little one if you want for a bridesmaid bouquet size. Just put that on the form. You say, I want a bridesmaid bouquet size about this big, and then I'll message back and forth with you and hammer out exactly how big you want your bouquet. But anyway, that's what it looks like when you spray paint flowers. I'll give you guys one more look. Absolutely stunning. And this is how I do all my flowers. This is in a floating frame, so you can see I like my hand appears behind it and stuff like that. So, and my face. Hello. So this is what your pressed flower arrangement could look like. This one turned out quite well. So that's my goal, to have them like that all the time. And I've done enough of them now. I think I can reliably turn out pressed pieces that look like that. Because my first couple ones, I don't know if you guys seen my YouTube videos, YouTube shorts, that my wedding ones, they did not turn out very nice. These are gorgeous. Who knows what those are called? I have no idea what this is called. Is this Fevered View? This one's also very piney. Okay. We're almost done disassembling then we're going to get to assembling the flower press. These are beautiful. Absolutely stunning. And as I've this is kind of fun. So you think if you made flower bouquets, you'd obviously get very familiar with the flowers and arrangements. When you disassemble flower bouquets, you also get very familiar with the flower arrangements. So soon I will be having some flyers. I might post them to my Instagram and Facebook. So if any of you don't see me locally, I might put it up there. So go check me out on Facebook and Instagram if you want to see. But I have some new flyers that I am coming out with, and there was this. I have no idea what this is called, but you can see it's this stem, and it has these little circular things that connect to it. So the bouquet that I traced for this art. So if you can imagine, you take a picture of a bouquet and it's got a background, right? We'll just say it's white for the sake of discussion. I go around and I trace this bouquet so that the background's clear. It's just the bouquet. And going around these tiny little things was such a headache. It literally took forever because I'd have to go in. Because if you took a picture of this all flattened, all of those little circular things, I got to go around and trace. Put it behind the white and you can see better. It was such a headache. It looks gorgeous when I'm done. I'm done now with the front of the flyer and it looks amazing. But it was a headache. So this stuff is beautiful, but horrible to trace. Horrible, horrible, horrible to trace. So that's actually something I thought about, was potentially turning people's pressed bouquets also into stickers. You guys should leave a couple comments and tell me if that's something you guys would be interested in. Because I press them obviously, and then I did that process of turning them into the bouquet, right? For that goes on the flyer that has no background. Well, I could take that no background image and very easily turn it into a sticker. Is that something that people would be like, oh, I'd love to have my wedding bouquet turned into a sticker so I could put it on my laptop? Is that something people would want? Is that something that people would be okay paying potentially $20, $40 for? I don't know exactly. I'm just guesstimating for my time to be able to do that. Is that something people would want? Or is that no, I'm good? I don't know. It's just a thought I had. So I got one sprig of this stuff. Don't know what that's called. Got more of these. What are these called? Sweet peas or something. This greenery is much more healthy, so this will be good to take some of this. Fresh new little buds. Stunning, stunning, stunning. This one's damaged. Last week I streamed on Saturday, which was somewhat foreseen, but not very. This stream I last minute decided to do because I enjoyed streaming so much. I love making videos, but sometimes the video editing process is so daunting that I just don't at all. So I was maybe streaming is just what I'm meant to be doing. So we'll see. Maybe I'll be streaming a lot more in the future. Look at these. See, I didn't even need to save the leaves from the roses. I got just some straight up rose leaves right here. Wow. These are in much better condition than my other ones too. So I'm gonna pull out any of them that have any brown spots, blah, blah, blah. Gotta keep checking, make sure I'm not missing any comments from you guys. If you've got any bride friends, for the people who are watching, you could send them a link and say, hey, she does flower pressing. If you want to watch her. Word of mouth is a big deal. So if you do like what I am doing, you saying to a friend, I've had people be like, oh, I want to support your business, but I'm not getting married, for example. I don't need the flowers pressed, but I want to support you. More than anything that you can help me with is telling other people, this person's amazing. I love what they do. It is it is the most valuable thing that you can offer a content creator, a small business owner, is saying good things about them to somebody else. It is huge. Do that for a couple people, and you've likely, even though you don't need it or can't buy it, you've probably generated 1, 2, depending on how many people you talk to, many customers for this person, and they have good experiences, and then they also talk about it to other people, and it just goes and it keeps getting bigger. So if you're ever like, oh, I want to support this creator, whether it's me or somebody else, share their posts, tell friends, like, comment, literally anything, talk positively about their products. Huge, enormous, so big for these content creators. Like, you don't know unless you're a content creator, really. So I wish I could make this understand for you how big of a deal word of mouth is, but it's a big deal. So if you ever want to help out, but don't feel like you can, you can. Like, share, comment, all these things. Tell somebody. Especially if they're a bride for me. Because that's who I need the brides who want their flowers preserved. So you can let this. It smells amazing. Last sprig, then we're done. This rose is just overtaken by greenery. Chunky stem. And that one's all wilted and ready to be disassembled. It's perfect. This way you get to enjoy your flowers when they're beautiful and perfect on your day, and they look more like this. And then when I get them, they look like this, and then I turn them and I make them look like this. And if this is like, also, brides, if you're last minute like, oh, I want my flowers pressed. I want them pressed, but I didn't think to schedule it, and now it's after my wedding. Stick them in the fridge. These flowers were in the fridge on the bottom shelf. Do not put them on the top shelf, especially if you have a freezer above, because sometimes that cold air is so cold that it freezes things. You do not want them to freeze. It's bad, very bad. But put your flowers on the bottom shelf, wherever your cold air input is not. And they say these flowers were in the fridge for a month. These flowers are in the fridge for a month, and they look like this. So, pro tip, if you are like last minute looking for a florist, flower preservation artist after your wedding, and you're like, I don't want to lose my flowers, stick them in the fridge, bottom shelf. They last so long. And just remember, your flowers can look like this and still turn into beautiful bouquets, because the pressing process, I end up destroying these anyway. It doesn't matter a whole lot, like a little bit, but a whole lot if they look like this versus this. So bear that in mind. Alrighty, nasty empty water. We have finished. There's just that little stem of eucalyptus I trimmed and left in the bottom. So here is our, what would you call it? Platter. Oh, stay on. I'm going to show the camera. These are the flowers we're going to be working with now that we have been disassembled. Everybody says, ooh, ah. Cool. And then we have a whole bunch of unused greenery. There's even a little bit more than this. That's all the trimmed bits that will get thrown away later. Excuse me. What would be kind of cool, especially for now when my streams are kind of smaller, would be to have like a moderator, or I don't know, moderator is probably the wrong word, something that reads the comments into my ear when they come. Because it's so slow, it's not like I'm going to constantly have feed in my ear. I'll still be able to talk and whatnot. But to like have, to not be like squinting at the screen whenever I notice a comment and be constantly checking, you know, it'll just like read to me like I'm actually talking to you guys in person. So I'm working. So if anybody wants to know what I'm doing the China Mums first. So these are big flowers. They need space on the press. Otherwise they will rot if they're too close to other stuff. So I'm just grabbing, pinching, pulling the center petals out. Look at that beautiful center. Alrighty, I'm gonna have to grab a Q-tip to clean off some of these petals. This one I might be able to get away with, but later I'll have to grab Q-tips to clean off petals because those, I cannot spare extra petals on those lilies and they have a lot of pollen on them and that's not gonna look nice. So right now what we're doing is pulling out extra petals off of the flowers that aren't going to aid in the beauty necessarily post-press in order to prevent rotting in the press. The less moisture, the less rot potential. So we are just pulling out petals. And we'll be doing this for like all of the flowers. It's downsizing, downsizing, downsizing. And then I'm just going to put this face down on my press. And then I'm going to trim off the stem closest to the bottom as possible without destroying the flower. So discard the stem. Now we have a flower on our press. I'm going to grab my other dynamum and we'll do the same thing. Itchy eyes, but I'm not trying not to put my fingers full of flower stuff in my eyes because that's gonna be most uncomfortable. I also go underneath and I pull out any unattractive wilty petals. So those ones are the oldest, or the ones on the outside. So pull those first usually. And then I just decrease the layers. I'd also be potentially interested in doing like a flower pressing class for people. I don't know if that'd be something that my area would be interested in. And then I just kind of put them diagonally from each other on the paper in order to stop them from rotting into each other. So now I'm going to take a page. I'm going to put them on top of the flowers. So we have cardboard, page, flowers, page, cardboard. Making a flower sandwich. Layer 1. We just do this over and over again. I have yet to have success with daisies, so I'm just going to pull out the best ones and probably do just one page of these because they just don't do well. I've yet to have these go well because I press them and then they just stick to the page very badly. So they're like thin enough as is to just put down. I don't know if I could maybe experiment with pulling out some more of these center pieces, if that would help. It might. Oh, well, apparently when you pull out the center and then do that, the pellets go flying. That one was a fail. See, this one lost some on that side, so I don't know how many of these will turn out well, so I'm going to put it on the page for now. I'm like out of breath from chatting so much. I'm sorry I've gotten quiet. I need a glass of water or something. I've never pressed eucalyptus before, so we'll see if this one, if it does well. I love getting new experience on flowers since I am new to this relatively. I've been doing it for like a year or so, but I'm relatively new to it. And I always love getting experience from low stakes stuff. So I had a bouquet that was like, if you're able to do anything for it all at all, that's awesome. And it was like a gift or whatever I was doing. And it's just super low stakes. There isn't a lot of pressure put on you to have that bouquet turn out perfectly, which is great. So then I can just do it and I can learn from it. And they weren't really like planning to preserve it anyway, and it's a gift. So I have the ability to learn from it. So I love these low stakes bouquets. Obviously this one's mine, so it's not a big deal. If it doesn't turn out, it doesn't turn out. It's okay. And it gives me a chance to learn without the stress of I'm dealing with a paying bride's gorgeous bouquet that I do not want to make mistakes on. So I love the process of getting to learn. So eucalyptus, I'll learn from this, see how it goes. Pulling out the most dead petals from this rose, and then take it like this. It's not even necessary. This one's not even that stuck. Sometimes they're very unwilling to open. This one is very willing. So I stick my finger on the inside of the rose and I kind of just work my finger around the petals until I make it to the center, and it just kind of falls apart. Some of them don't, some of them do. And then see here, this one has some damage on the inside. But that's okay. We don't really want these super tiny inside petals. We just want the very center of the rose, because that turns into this part when we're done. So, oh, itchy eyes. Eyelids, like the eyelashes are itching. It's kind of strange. So I'll come up all the way to the base here. I'll trim that off. So we need the petals, some good petals from it, and then also this. I also need to learn the terms for these bits of the flower. And then I'll pick the best petals and I'll put them down on the page individually. Sometimes I'll do roses and they will be as one piece. I'll just lay them flat like I do the daisies. Also, I should mention, I probably should have said this right away at the beginning, not an hour in, but if you guys want a bouquet preserve that isn't a wedding bouquet, I do those too. There's no shame if there's like, oh, this is my first bouquet from my boyfriend, or this is my first bouquet from my fiance, or I had a prom and this was my first corsage. There's no shame in preserving those, like, at all. And like corsages are cheaper to preserve than a wedding bouquet. I forgot exactly my prices, but I know corsages are about $100. And that gets you your corsage forever imprinted on, they're not imprinted, preserved on in a canvas on a frame. My brain, the words are not wording today. I've also thought about, or I have done for brides before, that I've done more casually. I have preserved the petals and then also given those back. And like, I don't know if anybody ever does like rose petal baths. Is that even a thing? Do people put rose petals in their baths and just have a bath with rose petals in it? If so, awesome. And it would be so fun to offer that. That's actually a really good product idea. I should do that. That would be like a good thing to do for a farmer's market, is preserve those rose petals and then sell them as a bath accessory. Making use of the whole piece, nothing going to waste. I feel like then I should almost be stacking these rose petals separate then. Every part of it. then you guys listen to the sounds I'm hearing. If you've never pulled apart flowers or spent a lot of time touching them, the sensation that I'm feeling is a little more velvety, but like if you take the inside of your arm, your elbow, or like under your arm here, it's very similar to the sensations I'm feeling touching the rose petals. Last rose. A little ASMR. Alrighty, let's see. Is there anything else that can fit in this little area that's left on here? Could do like a little sprig of this. Whatever this is. Looks kind of like rosemary. It's not, but it looks like it. Man, I'm getting tired. I am not as talkative as when we first started the stream. This stuff is just so pretty. And here, like this, when I'm pulling the branches apart, my thumbnail will kind of go under the leaves and stuff a little bit. That's like when I tend to start getting a little bit more of a reaction. These ones are so tricky, these carnations, because they're so thick. I wonder if I'm able to cut them in half in order to double my options later, but also reduce the bulk. I think I am able to. So I've just cut it in half. That will render a less moist flower, which is a great thing. Even if I don't press both sides, just to have it not as thick. Quite a big deal. And then these should be checked partway through to make sure that they're drying properly. Otherwise, they could start molding. Sometimes they need to be transferred to new paper that isn't wet anymore from absorbing all that moisture. And it can be quite important to check them and change their paper. Usually, like roses, carnations might need it. Anything that isn't dry after a couple weeks. Use. Okay. I'm gonna stick these ones on. These, dang, this stem's so thick. I was able to cut off some. Hopefully that dries okay. Smells almost broccoli-ish. Whatever these are. These ones will probably need their paper changed. They're very thick. Q-tip time. Be right back. There we go. So dry is better, otherwise it tends to like turn even more yellow. Okay, don't press too hard, otherwise it bruises. So that might actually be something I want to consider doing, is pressing the lilies right away to prevent all this orange. I think I'm actually making it worse, so I'm just going to stop. This is going to be an enormous bloom. Okay, looks like one goes on a sheet. Wow. I wonder if I still have time to start growing lilies. These are really pretty. And these ones are super dense. Alrighty. Well then, that Easter lilies have a lot of water on the inside. My goodness. just going to tap out some of that moisture. They're full of water on the inside. Wow. Okay. Be warned. Okay. So that's that. I'm probably, just because I don't want you guys to see my closet, I'm going to tip the camera down while I quick grab my box of supplies. I am still here. I have not gone anywhere. Just looking at my keyboard now. Oh, it is super ultra buried right now. I take that back. We might have to do that just another time. I might just wrap up this, the remaining of this flower pressing business here off stream. So you see I've got water from those lilies on my skirt and flower stuff all over the ground. I will, if there's anybody here watching, send you over to my website. It is in the description, www.stotally.com. That is STOATALLY, STOATALLY.com. And over there, you can check out my website where I have forms and stuff if you guys are brides and are wanting your flowers pressed in 2026. So you saw a little bit of my process today. I really appreciate you guys tuning in, and I encourage you, please go check out my website, share my stuff, go check out my Instagram and Facebook. On Instagram and Facebook, my tag is StotallyCo, STOATALLY, Co, C-O, STOATALLY-CO. And thanks for hanging out with me while I press some flowers, and we will maybe catch you in another stream in the future. So thank you. Bye.